They made their way up the beach, and as they did, Rockford glanced across at the mouth of the river, which met the sea away across the sand. It looked like the mouth of any river, with a spit of land sticking out, and insects hovering over it. Strange insects, some of them. But then everything about Infinity was a bit odd. Then he realised what it was that made the river so extraordinary. He could see quite clearly that water was flowing into it, and not out of it. This river was going backwards. The large bird, who had the slightly disappointing name of Patrick, padded across the sand with his great clawed feet, and as they walked, the sand got drier, and as they reached the top of the dunes, they looked down into a great valley and across the backwards flowing river spiralling away into the island. At the head of the valley were what looked like 2 arches, and they could see lots of creatures gathered together. And all of them only exist here, thought Rockford. No one back at home, like Moog, will ever see them, even though he'd be really interested. Rockford was just thinking about all this when they passed a huge, trudging brown furry thing, hauling itself very slowly down the path. A small creature sat on its back, shouting encouragement in its tiny voice.
Come on, you great furry lump! Get a move on, Lord Bucket! Who on earth's that?
Slothius megaslothius, the laziest animal ever to have bothered to evolve, became extinct over a century ago. Took him 50 years just to walk up the beach.
Rockford found this amazing, but they'd already overtaken the giant sloth, who was grumbling about going so fast. Patrick carried on.
The island is divided up into sections, for administrative reasons mainly. You'll have lots of time to explore once you've been checked into reception and your details are sent to the Fossil Record Office.
Rockford really didn't like the sound of that. The path narrowed, and there, rising up before them, were the 2 great arches, forming a grand entrance to the rest of the island. Made from ancient weathered rock, one was built on the land, the other spanned the backwards flowing river. Beyond, Rockford could see the river curving away into the distance, and he could see jungles and deserts and mountains, every landscape you could imagine. And as he looked harder, he saw hundreds more creatures, in the trees, on the land, in the air, and swimming in the water.
Is this it?
Said Ick.
It is,
said Patrick, and he sounded proud, even though the Ick felt a little scared. In front of the land arch were the animals they'd seen from the dunes. Up close, they could see they were lined up into a sort of queue. There were lots of mammals, insects, reptiles and birds in the queue, and as Rockford looked down, he could see more creatures waiting in the river. On the bank, between the arches, was a sort of check-in desk, and behind the desk was an extraordinary-looking worm, with what looked like millions and millions of little legs, each one holding a piece of chalk, and scribbling frantically.
Is the sloth here yet?
No,
said Patrick.
Oh, he's mucking up the entire system.
Indeed,
Came a shrill voice, and a terrifying yellow, mantis-like thing appeared from behind the desk.
Most inconsiderate. We like to keep order here, the Billipede and I. It's bad enough that there are more and more of you arriving here without you all arriving in the wrong order.
As it said this, its neck extended outwards like a telescope, so that its head loomed over them menacingly. Rockford trembled. He didn't like this mantis thing, and he certainly didn't want it looking at him.
Who
Announced the mantis in its cold voice.
is that?
Don't know.
Blurted the Billipede, and its legs fluttered in panic.
It's me, the Cocklebur Ick.
I know about you. You're on the list. I meant that.
it's a dog.
Explained Patrick.
He's with me, but I think he's come a little too far. He can go back now.
The mantis laughed.
Ha ha ha. I
It said.
am the registrar, and you
It went on.
need to listen very carefully. 2, 3, 4. I am the one who all creatures must come to. I like things to run efficiently. No use pretending there's no happy ending. I don't understand what they mean when they say,
Oh, dear me, I think
you've gone a little too far. Won't you set us free?
No, 'cause I am the registrar. I have a job to do, so please don't ask me to make an exception for you. If you are here, then it's perfectly clear what the next thing is I have to do. So don't say,
Oh, dearie me, I think we've gone a little too far. Won't you set us free?
no, 'cause I am the registrar.
Oh, dearie me, I think we've gone a little too far. Won't you set us free?
No, 'cause I am the registrar.
The registrar grabbed a piece of wood strung with vines like some sort of guitar, and then, with the millipede running manically up and down the neck, the registrar let rip.
Say that thing! So goodbye to dogs who have popped off their clogs, and from now will not be any more. Don't look surprised, you're to be fossilized. There are plenty it's happened to before. And they all say,
Dearie me, I think we've gone a little too far. Won't you set us free?
no, 'cause I am the registrar.
Oh, dearie me, I think we've gone a little too far. Won't you set us free?
No, 'cause I am the registrar. I am the registrar. I am the registrar. Go back.
Cried the registrar,
I haven't explained.
said Patrick, who was a kindly creature and clearly felt uncomfortable.
You can't go back. It's impossible. Don't you understand where you are? This is infinity. You're extinct. Nothing that's extinct can go back. That's the point of being extinct. You're here now. Once we've checked you into the fossil record, this is your home. Forever.
I think there's been a mistake.
Said Ick.
I think so too. It's never happened before.
There are no exceptions. It's impossible. By definition and by the rule, nothing that's arrived on infinity can go back. If you could just put your paw print here.
Rockford was an obedient dog, and before anyone had time to stop him, he had plonked his paw down in a patch of mud and left a nice, neat print, which dried instantly and was quickly scurried away by insects, who put it on a lily pad at the side of the river. Then, as Rockford watched, the stem was cut, and together with his paw print, the lily pad floated away into the distance.
Oh dear,
Said Patrick.
I'm afraid that's it.
What's it? What's happened?
His print is on its way to the Fossil Record Office. He's been checked in.
There's no going back.
Cried the registrar.
I'm afraid it's true.
Said Patrick.